What's up guys, Shawnthebro here, and in today's episode of the third person tutorial series, we are going to be going over removing pings. So we covered adding waypoints, markers, pings, whatever we're calling them in the game. And to do that we can press a button, and where we are looking we'll get a ping. Right now it's kind of in the wall because we don't have any sort of order to render these objects, so it's right in the same position, but it rotates toward us, and that way we can always kind of see it even though it's stuck in this wall. It's a little hard to do with this scenario. However, if I look at the ping now with my camera, you'll see that it says remove. And that's because I am drawing a line trace from my character, just like I did to create the ping. And if I hit another ping, then I want to be able to remove it by pressing the same button. So if I press the ping button, the ping is removed. That line that remains is a debug line, and it goes away on its own after some time, so there's nothing to worry about there. But yeah, so we can ping as many as we want in the world. We can have all these, and then if we want to remove one, we just hover over it until the remove text appears, and then we press the ping button again to get rid of it. Next episode, when we actually have order rendering and we can render the actor in front of the wall, this will become a lot easier to use and a lot nicer to use. If you want to get caught up in the series before we check out this episode, then please feel free to click this link in the top right corner. You can see the entire playlist and all the things that we've covered, from our inventory to the initial ping system and attacking enemies. If you don't care about that and you just care about the ping system, then I'll link you to the first episode of the ping system from this series right here. And you can check that out and know exactly how we got to this point. But with all that out of the way, let's go ahead and get started. This is a code and blueprint tutorial series. We're going to be doing the majority of the behavior in the code today. So I'm going to start in my Visual Studio, and I'm going to go to my third-person tutorial character.h. Now, to be able to remove an object in the world that we spawned, we want to make sure that we have a reference to the object that we are going to remove. And so when we look at objects in the world, we want to draw a line trace to them and see if they are of type base ping. And if they are, then we will bring up the behavior for actually removing it. We need to hold that object that we're looking at, and that's going to be considered our hovered ping. So I'm going to scroll down to where I want to make my variables. And I'm going to make a new one in here. A base ping pointer, hovered ping. And I've made it uProperty edit anywhere, blueprint read write with a category of ping. That way we can find it and edit it in the blueprint if needed. Now we can return to the third-person tutorial character.cpp and go to our constructor, so we can set the default value for hovered ping, which is going to be null pointer by default, or nothing. Now let's go into our base ping.h file, and in here I want to add two new functions. I have one called ping hover and another one called ping end hover. And so this is the behavior that's going to happen when hovering over or stopping the hover over a ping. By hovering over, I really just mean the character is looking at the ping and that line trace is succeeding. So basically, they're looking at the ping that already exists in the world. When they look at it, we're going to call ping hover, and when they stop looking at it, we'll call ping end hover. So as the comment says, perform logic when the ping is hovered, such as displaying remove text or playing a visual effect. So we are displaying remove text when we look at a ping, but of course you could play a visual effect. You could do a little like throb with the ping or something similar. Then I've made it uFunction blueprint implementable event because we're going to do all this behavior in the blueprint, so we can call it from the code and handle it in the blueprint. Then we have ping end hover, so perform logic when the ping is no longer hovered, looked at, such as hiding remove text or playing a visual effect. It's another uFunction of blueprint implementable event, so we can call it in the code, handle it in the blueprint. And that is void ping end hover. Now once we have those variables in, we can build and launch the game again. Alright, the editor is back open, so I'm going to go into my blueprints and find my ping BP, which I believe is in objects, UI, and here we go, base ping BP. Now, in base ping BP, we had this in the previous episode. It was the plane that was holding these items, the sprite itself for the actual ping icon, and then I had a text render that said go. I have renamed the text render to be called title text. That way I could separate it from the remove text that we're going to add. So I actually duplicated the text render and called this one hover text, and then I changed the position so it's down here, and I made it invisible by default, which we can go ahead and change. You can see it looks like this. So if you want to see my settings for hover text, these are my location, rotation, and scale variables. Here's where I put the remove text in. X scale, Y scale, world size has been changed to be a little bit smaller than the Go text. And then I made it invisible by default because we want it to pop up when the player or the character looks at this ping. Now if we go into the event graph, this was previously empty. We're going to add our 2 new events that we made in the code, those blueprint implementable events, the ping hover and the ping end hover. So you can right click anywhere in this graph and search for ping hover, and you'll see event ping hover comes up, select it, and you'll get this node right here. What we want to do in here is set the visibility of our hover text variable that we made. And so we can grab our hover text and get it, then drag off of it and type set visibility. Then, since we are hovering over it, we want to enable the remove text or make it visible. So I'm going to check the new visibility box. And that's how you get what I have right here. The other one we want to handle is ping end hover. And we can search ping end hover and get that event. And we're going to do the same thing, but we're going to set the visibility to be false instead. Character is no longer looking at the ping, we want to remove the remove text. And that's all we need to do in base ping BP. Now let's go back to the code. We're going to scroll down to the tick function, which for me is all the way at the bottom. And in here I have a bunch of behavior for the third person and action RPG tutorial, but the only one we care about for today is this section right here. And this highlighted logic is to draw a line from the center of the camera where the character is looking to the next object that it hits, given a certain distance. Now, this is actually the same logic as we use to create the ping. So you could copy that if you want, but otherwise I will go over it quickly for you. So to create a line trace, which is the actual line that we're drawing from the camera, we need to have 4 things. We need to have an F hit result, and I just call it hit result, F collision query params, which I call collision rules, F vector start location, and F vector end location. The start location is going to use our follow camera, and it's going to get the component location of that camera. So we know we're starting at the character's camera. The end location is going to get the follow camera and get the forward vector of it, multiply that by the ping distance. So whatever the ping distance is, that's how far away we can draw this line. So the higher the ping distance, the farther the line will draw. But we also want to add our start location there, just so any offset from the camera is applied. We don't want to be without the start location, that way if we have an offset on the camera, it's not taken into account. Again, this is all covered up above in toggle ping as well, same behavior, but that's why we need all those things. Now, we have to actually create the line trace or the raycast, and to do that, we can call getWorld line trace single by channel. Then we have to pass in all of our parameters. We're going to pass in hit result, start location, end location. This is the collision channel visibility, so basically what can this line trace hit against? And we're just going to put it against the ECC visibility in this case, so anything that's visible, essentially. And then our collision rules. I wrap that whole thing in an if statement. This will return true if a blocking hit is found, and that's where we want to place the ping. In here, we have our hit result that was set from the line trace single by channel. And so if we can get the actor from the hit result, we can cast it and check if it is of type A base ping. If it is, we'll set focused ping to that result. And this will be our reference to the ping, or essentially the casted actor that was hit by the line trace. So if autofocus ping equals cast to A base ping, and we're casting hit result.getActor. Now, if the focus ping is actually valid, that means we found a ping. And because of that, we want to set our hovered ping equal to the focus ping. So quite simply, hovered ping equals focus ping. And now our hovered ping, the one that's actually global for the file, is the ping that the character was looking at. At that point, we can call hovered ping, ping hover. Now, if this if statement fails, this means that this cast couldn't succeed, or the hit result didn't have an actor that it could grab other than null pointer. This if statement could fail, and if it does, it'll go into this else if. And we want to say else if hovered ping, because if hovered ping is valid, at that point we want to end the hover and reset the hovered ping. If it's not valid, we don't want to do anything at all. So else if hovered ping, we're going to say hovered ping, ping and hover. And then we're going to set it back to null pointer, which is the default value, or nothing. At this point, our ping should display the removed text when we look at it, and it should go away when we stop looking at it. But now we have to go into toggle ping and actually be able to remove the ping. So in toggle ping, we had pretty much everything in here already. Really all that's new is this if else. So this if else wasn't here, and instead it was just this behavior right here, where the created ping was being spawned, and it was setting the owner to this character. However, now that's only when we're adding a ping we want to do that, so we have to check if we should be destroying the ping, otherwise do this logic. So I've put the pre-existing logic in here into an else statement. And above it, I've added an if statement where we get the focus ping, just like we did below in tick. So if autofocus ping equals cast to a base ping, hit result.getActor. Basically, did we press the ping button while already looking at another ping? If we did, then go ahead and destroy the focus ping. Focus ping, destroy. At that point, we are good to go. We can remove pings that we have spawned, and we can track where we are looking to play little visual effects or whatever the case may be for pings, waypoints, markers that already exist. So thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed, please subscribe. It's completely free, and it's the best way to help the channel. If you'd like to support the channel with other means, you can do so by checking out the Patreon, YouTube membership, or Discord subscriptions, and thank you so much to all of you who already do. I'm very, very grateful for it. If you had any issues with this tutorial or any of my tutorials, feel free to join the Discord community, where I'd be happy to help you, and it is completely free. Anyway, guys, that's all I got, so thank you so much for watching. I'm Shawnthebro, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye, guys.